Getting started. Everyone's in place. Well, good morning, everyone. I am Lisa Alexis. I'm the CEO and president of the New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Fund, known as NOTCF. I'd like to thank our media that are here, always here supporting and sharing our stories and celebrating the impact that we're making here in the city of New Orleans with our cultural economy. I'd also like you to know that if you have a nice aroma you're smelling right now, that is coming from Chef Shonda's Fine Dining to Go, and we're going to have nice delicacies for you to enjoy as well as refreshments. I would also like to acknowledge our board members. Our board chairman, Lloyd Dennis, is here with us today, and he will be coming up and sharing information with you. We also have board member Big Chief Dow Edwards that is here with us as well. And we thank our board, because let me let you know, our board is a working board all hours of the day and night, but it keeps us going and it keeps the support lifted. So today, we're going to get it going. The purpose is to apprise you of our cultural economic opportunities. There are going to be programs we're going to bring to your attention, new partnerships, economic impact, and then we'll have an announcement as well at the end. So stay with us, and without further ado, I'd like to start with the fact that when we think of wisdom, we look to this person. This person leads us and encourages us to always listen, make readjustments, then again go back to listening to the community, listening to the culture, and then refining what we do. So we're always a work in progress. And I'd like to bring forth our board chairman, Lloyd Dennis, who will now bring to you information regarding NOTCF.
Before I go any further, Lisa mentioned our board. I have the pleasure of working with a very hard-working board. Angie Simon is our vice chair. I don't think she's with us today. Susan Brennan is our treasurer. You met Dow, our Big Chief Dow Edwards, Big Chief Demond Melanson, and Council Member Leslie Harris, and Council Member Freddie King III. And I say this because this is a working board, very hard working board. Sometimes I feel guilty being chair of a board that people pour themselves into, but they're all committed to the same thing, and that is making sure that New Orleans stays an authentic cultural destination for the world. And so to do that, though, we have to listen. To do that, we have to listen, and we are still listening. We were put in a position of having to build a ship while we sailed it. And we pulled some planks out and replaced them. So it was created through the process of listening. From the very beginning, we listened. Before we did anything, got started, we talked to the cultural leaders in the city of New Orleans, asked them to work with us, give us some time to get it right, and they did. And for that, we're grateful. The grants program came out of that, came out of the preliminary conversations and investment of time and effort by our board, our staff, and people from community who invested themselves with us. The NOTCF Honors Gala was launched and continues to honor our creative greats as a result of listening and acting to the community culture. The culture community said, we need to be celebrated. Culture bearers need to be celebrated. We listen and we celebrate. The Cultural Working Group, that's led by board member Dow Edwards, came into existence so that we could listen more and better and harder from a diverse group of people who also invested themselves in making sure that we do the best that we can to serve this city. When we serve the culture, we serve the city. When we serve the culture bearers, we serve the city. Because were it not for the culture in New Orleans, we would just be a port. We would just be a port. The one other thing I wanted to add is that we listened to the city council. Councilwoman Helena Romano was concerned, had a constituent who was concerned that when we give money to people, large grants for things like Super Bowl, things like Essence, that we make sure that they are investing in local vendors and local businesses, that they don't bring sand to the beach. And we got together with the council and we figured out a way to do that and be accountable and hold them accountable. And I'm going to say this, Essence has never used more local businesses than they did this year. And the Super Bowl will use more local businesses than they ever had due to the efforts of this staff. And before I sit down, I want to thank everybody in the city. Everybody in the city. I want to thank the mayor. The mayor did the fight that got the funding that we use. I want to thank the city council. The city council makes sure that every year we stay on track. And I want to thank the legislature for having the wisdom to understand that if we don't invest in the real culture of New Orleans, it could disappear. So thank all of you for coming. I want to thank this amazing staff. And it has been my pleasure to serve as board chairman of a board where all the business is done on top of the table. You don't have to know anybody to get a grant from NOTCF. You don't have to. That's the way things used to be. Not anymore. Go to the website, fill out the application. It's going to be measured by a metric. And if you deserve it, and if you have skin in the game, you've been doing this stuff. You've invested in the culture on your own. If you have skin in the game and you meet those criteria, we want to fund it. So I want to thank you again. One other thing we did, and this is how to listen, and I'm reminded because we have the fried chicken festival guy in the audience. I went to Gentilly Fest last year and almost cried when I found out that they didn't get funded because they missed our, the cutoff number. Well, we don't have a cutoff number anymore. Excuse me, we have a cutoff time. So if you get your grant in on time, it's going to be considered. And if you are a festival, an annual event, it's a 2-year rolling agreement now. Because people have to be able to do business. They have to be able to make plans. They have to be able to make commitments. And so the conversation that came out of that going to the festival and listening changed the way that we do business in a way that's going to help the festivals continue to prosper, because the festivals pay a lot of people a lot of money in New Orleans. Pay a lot of musicians, a lot of food vendors do well. So we just want to say thank you to everybody for having faith and staying with us and continuing to support what we do across the board. Thank you very much. And I'm supposed to bring somebody up? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. And we are moving right along. I'm told to check a message real quick, but I would like to say, to keep everything smoothly flowing, to address economics, we turn to our finance team. So introducing our CFO and Deputy Director, Tiffany Jackson, who will then be followed by our grants manager, Rosalind Sanders. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. At NOTCF, we focus on 5 core values daily. One of those core values is impact. We seek to impact our team and community through partnerships, grants, and programs to drive tourism and sustain our unique culture. Today, I'd like to share how our small but mighty team and board have impacted our community. In just over 3 years, we have set a new standard by awarding an unprecedented number of grants to the New Orleans cultural artists. These awards and sponsorships have been a cornerstone of our support for local festivals. Since 2021, we have awarded over $3.6 million to local festivals. These sponsorships have empowered festival organizers to enhance their marketing strategies, attracting visitors to our city and filling more hotel rooms. Major festivals such as French Quarter Fest, Jazz Fest, Satchmo Fest, Fried Chicken Festival, Bayou Classic, and the Essence Festival of Culture have resulted in over $1.2 billion in economic impact for our city and state. It has been the goal of NOTCF to be a catalyst for the elevation and prosperity of our cultural artists and future generations. To make this dream a reality, we have teamed up with the producers of the Fried Chicken Festival to create the NOTCF Merchant Marketplace, a space within the festival's footprint. Our sponsorship covers the festival vendor registration fees, tents, and access to electricity to collect credit card payments for 20 vendors selling non-food cultural products. Last year, vendors reported a combined total of revenues of over $40,000 for the 2-day event. In conclusion, the NOTCF Awards have been far-reaching and multifaceted. They have driven economic growth, fostered community development, spurred innovation, supported individual aspirations, and created opportunities to sustain our culture. As we move forward, it is crucial to recognize and celebrate the transformative power of the New Orleans Tourism and Cultural Fund in shaping a better future for all of us. One last thing, I want to take a minute to recognize 2 team members that you will not see on the stage today, but they have worked hard to ensure this event is successful. And that is our office manager, Kitsy Matthews, and our senior accountant, Maurice Norwood. Thank you, and next up we have Rosalind Sanders, our grants manager.
Thank you, Tiffany. Good morning. I am Rosalind Sanders. I am the grants manager with NOTCF. I will provide grant updates. When we talk about enhancing and sustaining our city's cultural infrastructure, we know funding is necessary to achieve this goal. So far in 2024, we have awarded 260 grants, totaling $3.2 million. This is a win for the City of New Orleans as it allows us to invest in the culture that drives our local economy. So now through October, we are processing over 450 grant applications that were submitted in this final cycle. In November, we will begin decision letters and award letters for level 1 and level 2 applications, and we will close out the grant cycle in December with a board meeting, final decision letters, and awards for Level 3 applications. This information can be found on the grants page of our website. It's www.notcf.com. And lastly, we will add the 2025 grant cycle at the end of this year. So thank you, and remember, culture is our open door.
Thank you, Rosalind. And I would just like to add, as we're speaking to economic impact, I would like to note that since inception in 2021, it was May of 2021, NOTCF has given over 1,500 grants, and those grants year-to-date total $13.7 million to the culture. We are very excited with that, and we'd also like to, as I introduce our next speaker, note that we have awarded $1.9 million specifically to youth programming. And that youth programming includes benefactors of STEM NOLA, Make Music NOLA, Coats for Kids, Be Loud, Eternal Seeds, and many more. So now, moving to the songwriter. The songwriter wrote, "I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way." All right, that's enough, a little culture in me. However, I will say our next speaker does just that. She teaches our youth. She is a professor at Xavier University, and I'm sure she has a higher level than that. And she's also the executive director of Coats for Kids and Make Music NOLA. To speak to our youth investment and its impact, I present Dr. Ji-Young Ko.
Thank you very much. I live in Gentilly, so I'm going to share with my neighbors about the grant for the festival. I'm supposed to be actually in the class right now teaching music appreciation and at Xavier, and I told my students this is so important, so I have to go. And kids were happy actually, you know. And I have to tell you, I never miss, not even be late to class. When I was quitting my job at NOCA, I had more than 100 sick days after working for 11 years. So you know this is so important to me. I'm Dr. Ji-Young Ko, and I would love to talk about what I do briefly. As Ms. Alexis mentioned, I'm professor at Xavier University, but also I have two other jobs that I'm representing. I wear quite a few hats, and it's actually possible because of all of you. As an executive director of Coats for Kids, we have been collecting coats for underserved children, and now we serve system-impacted youth through songwriting workshops. So we go to the Covenant House, Son of Saint, and then we teach them how to make lullaby, rap, or just knock, right? And I also serve as the executive director of Make Music NOLA, a free string instrumental music program for free and reduced lunch program students, supported by Carnegie Hall as well. And lastly, I'm the symphony band director at Xavier University, and I teach other classes as well. I truly love everything I do because it's all part of my dream to ensure that every child and youth in New Orleans gets to experience the joy and power of music. This includes children whose family cannot afford violin or violin lessons, or the youth who need a little bit of hope to reintegrate to the society after making some mistakes. And of course, my dear HBU students at Xavier. NOTC has been instrumental in many of these successes. Number one, with NOTCF's support, Coats for Kids has evolved into a nonprofit after serving our community for 14 years long, collecting 3,600 coats through our annual concert. Our co-host, the late Mr. Alice Masalis, used to say, this is not really only about collecting codes, but this is about bringing the community together. Honoring his vision, we now serve youth with pre-incarceration records, human trafficking victims, and those dealing with substance use and homelessness by offering songwriting sessions that boost their self-esteem and provide a positive outlet. And at Make Music NOLA, we have served hundreds of students by providing teachers to the schools that lack a quality music program, often due to cost of instruments and instruction. And thanks to this success in the two programs, I was able to hire Xavier University students using your fund as teachers and mentors for both programs. This opportunity allows my students to gain relevant experience rather than working minimum wage jobs unrelated to their degrees. And lastly, we were able to hire numerous New Orleans musicians, cultural bearers, as instructors and performers, enriching our program and supporting the local community. Your support has been really instrumental to all of us, but not only the youth, but all the adults involved who want to be kind of grown up that take actions to support and guide our youth, rather than just waking up and watching the news about juvenile crime and only complain or criticizing. And I want to share just a brief story about last week when we served at Son of Saint. I asked my musician, okay, can you send me your updated mailing address? And he said, no charge for this one. I received more than the boy I served today. Thank you, NOTCF, for helping us become a support system for our youth who are hungry for guidance, creativity, and sense of belonging. On behalf of all the young people we serve and our supporters in our community, I want to express our deepest gratitude for your ongoing support. I mean here the support not only Grant, but Alexis really comes to our concert and she talks our youth and performers, and she also dances to the music. So I'm gonna promise, I'm gonna buy a nice dress and join your gala too, and dance there too. But in return, I want to invite all of you that we are gonna host all the musicians who worked for us, plus those system impacted youth song compositions. And thanks to Brian, I saw you briefly in the Gallia Hall. I couldn't have done this without you. It's gonna be November 21st in the Gallia Hall. And once again, thank you so much for all your support, and we are very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koh. I would like to announce that, unfortunately, duty calls for Mayor Cantrell all throughout the day and night. And unfortunately, she will not be able to attend today's press conference. However, I want to emphasize the fact that Mayor LaToya Cantrell is the visionary who created the idea to establish NOTCF and fought through all of the processes and steps to bring us to the reality of an actual nonprofit economic development corporation. So if we can just give her a round of applause for what she created that is going strong today. And now, sharing new programs and the power of partnership, I present to you and introduce our program director, Clervay Stinson.
All right, thank you, Lisa, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking time to be with us here today. I'm Clervay Stinson, NOTCF's program director. NOTCF's programming includes the Grants Program, the Elevation Series workshop, the Cultural Working Group, and the NOTCF Honors Gala. This afternoon, I will provide you with updates and announcements for the Grants Program and our Elevation Series workshop. NOTCF's board member, Big Big Chief Dow Edwards will speak to the Cultural Working Group, and event producer Wilson Ave will speak to our 2025 NOTCF Honors Gala. The grant program is significant to the arts and culture community in helping artists and arts entities sustain their work and programming throughout the year. We at NOTCF are listening to the artistic community's needs. We launched a pilot program named the Golden Age Culture Program. This program is designed to help cultural artists and culture bearers ages 60 plus learn how to complete a grant application with NOTCF and also understand and navigate the submittable platform, which we use for all of our grant applications. We started with a small group of our Golden Age artists, and we look forward to the expansion of this program in 2025. With the upcoming Elevation Series workshop, NOTCF is in partnership with the Mayor's Office of Cultural Economy, and we will host a workshop during the Mayor's Neighborhood Engagement 2024 Neighborhood Summit. This collaboration will assist the cultural community in preparing for grant cycles, adding their business information to the City of New Orleans brass system, and understanding what is needed for them to not only be artists in the city, but business-ready professionals when hired by the City of New Orleans or seeking potential funding from NOTCF. This event will occur on November 16, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Convention Center. Neighborhood engagement will begin registration this weekend, so please visit www.nola.gov for more information. And now, to speak on the impact that NOTCF's partnerships have had on events, programming, and activities in the cultural community, we have 3 partners here today to give testimony and reflection on how important NOTCF's programming is for their organizations. First, we will have Sherwood Collins, Executive Director and Producer of the Yummy Beignet Festival. And then we'll have Cleveland Spears, the President and CEO of Festivals for Goods, the also Yummy Fried Chicken Festival. And then finally, we will have Alice Glenn, the Executive Vice President of New Orleans and Company, who is a collaborating partner with us for the NOLA by NOLA Music Festival. Please come in that order, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Clervay. And we'd like to make a quick announcement. Anyone who's parked in the fire lane right by this building, we're asking you to please move your vehicle. We cannot have a fire lane blocked. Just want to make that clear. And if we will do one adjustment with our partners who are very important to us, we have a schedule that we need to adjust. So if you would be so kind, we would now like to bring up Ariel Wilson, who is going to speak to our gala, but also, most importantly, speak to the fact that we're having this gala and that we are utilizing this space today. We would like to make an announcement and an acknowledgement at this time. Thank you so much for your patience. Ariel Wilson, Wilson Ave, proprietor.
Thank you, Lisa. I am humbled to be in this room today with all of these cultural artists. We need to give you all a round of applause. Those numbers are unprecedented, and we really need to bring it back to the community and share how good this work is doing in the community. So with that, Wilson Ave is in its 3rd year to be producing the 2025 NOTCF Honors Gala. We're really excited about it. When I first joined NOTCF's team, I was so excited to hear that they wanted to honor cultural artists around the city. And they do look forward to it every year because we're sold out every year. So with that being said, Mardi Gras World at the River District is our presenting sponsor. Thank you, Barry Kern. We are really excited to have WWL Channel 4 as our media sponsor. Thank you, Todd Smith and team. Now, this process is very open. It is not judged by a panel. It is not picked by certain people. It is the community that nominates folks for these awards. The nominations were collected in a 2-week period from a public call of nominations, and it excluded the NOTCF staff and board. I think that's important to recognize that. And then a selection committee was consisted of cultural industry leaders and artists, as well as civic leaders, to vote and select the honorees anonymously. And now it is my pleasure to announce the 2025 honorees. The 2025 Culinary Arts Award will go to Vance Volkerson. The Design Award, Queen Taj. Entertainment, Aria Mason. Literary Arts and Humanities, Sonny Patterson. Preservation, Darryl Reeves. Visual Arts and Crafts, Big Chief Victor Harris. And our 2025 emerging artist is Troy Sawyer. And last but not least, our lifetime achievement this year will go to Big Chief Monk Boudreaux. Please give it up for these amazing artists. So tickets and sponsorships are available at NOTCF.com. I repeat, NOTCF.com. Everyone sitting in this room has a network, right? All of the funds that are raised for this event goes directly back into the culture. Thank you and have a great day. Oh, and Mr. Barry Kern, please give it up for Barry Kern.
Good afternoon. Listen, my hat's off to the mayor when she put together the Tourism and Cultural Fund. You know, by highlighting and supporting the culture bearers in the city of New Orleans, we're really just investing in ourselves. We're investing in the city. You know, I look over and we were talking about the Super Bowl that we're hosting. You know, the Super Bowl has been in New Orleans. We'll tie this year for 11 times it's been in New Orleans. Well, the reason why it's been to New Orleans 11 times is because of our culture and who we are and what we do. And obviously, you know, Mardi Gras is just one part of what we are. It's our music, it's our food, it's the Indians, it's the artists, it's everything that we do, and we are really an incredibly unique place. You know, I get the opportunity to travel all over the world, and believe me, everybody wants to copy what we do here in this city of New Orleans. They want to be New Orleans. And they try hard, and frankly, and I make a good business out of trying to bring it to them, and hopefully we will promote New Orleans. You know, Universal Studios they turn their whole theme park in Orlando into New Orleans for a couple of months, 2 to 3 months every year. Purple, green, and gold. They have New Orleans bands come in. They serve New Orleans food, and I think that makes people want to come here and see the real thing. But it is these culture bearers and our artists that create this gumbo of what we are. And that's the reason why we have the success that we have, and that's the reason why we have these events and people want to come to New Orleans, because we are a real place with real people and a real culture that really fascinates the rest of the world. And, you know, Mardi Gras World and what we do here is one part of it. And I just want to thank all of the culture bearers and all of the people and all of you people here that are part and support this, because this is the most important thing that we can do for our city. All we're doing is highlighting and helping ourselves and promoting the people that make New Orleans the greatest place in the world. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Barry. And Barry and I serve as co-chairs on the host committee of special events and hospitality, and it's a great pleasure learning from him as well. We will now move to our partners, and speaking of partnerships, we also partner with the University of New Orleans. And in doing so, I would also like to acknowledge Abby Caruso, who is an intern with our office. She's great. She's in her graduate program and growing, and she adds impact and advisement to our staff each day. So we're very happy to have that partnership with UNO and very happy to have Abby as a part of our team. So moving right into the Beignet Festival that's coming up, bringing up Sherwood Collins.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and thank y'all for having me here today. Sherwood Collins, and I founded Beignet Fest in 2016 to advance a cause that's near and dear to my family, raising awareness and funds for a local autism community. I also founded Beignet Fest for my love of New Orleans. For me, the best job is running a festival that showcases the great city and our amazing culture here. Our music, food, art, and community are really what it's all about. So the New Orleans Tourism and Culture Fund has supported my vision with a grant since its inception, helping to underwrite the cost of hiring local musicians to perform at our festival. So this year, we were awarded a multi-year grant, as Mr. Dennis alluded to, something that has allowed us to achieve multi-year planning and look how we can scale the event beyond our current success. The guaranteed funding helps ensure that Beignet Fest can also showcase the best of New Orleans culture. I can't tell you how much an agency like NOTCF means to event producers like me, helping to advance what we're working so hard to do with local vendors and musicians. So at Beignet Fest this year, we'll welcome locals and visitors alike to enjoy beignets all different ways, all on one day with live local music, an artist market, food vendors that reflect the rich and diverse flavor of New Orleans. We've got seafood stuffed beignets, traditional beignets, hot honey chicken beignets, fancy beignets like Bananas Foster. Plus this year we've even rolling out some Asian-inspired cuisine as well as some Latin American-inspired cuisine as well. And if you're gluten-free or vegan, we have beignets for y'all as well. So we're inviting everybody to come down September 16th to City Park. And we're hoping it's going to be a nice cool day, aside from the brutally hot days that we've had when we were in September the past couple of years. So we're moving from the beginning of the festival calendar to the end, which y'all will still hopefully be able to come out and enjoy this great musical lineup that we have for y'all, thanks to NOTCF with performers like Amanda Shaw, Big Sam's Funky Nation, John Clare and the Absolute Monster Gentleman, and a great up-and-coming talent in Sierra Green and the Giants, who's lining up Frenchman Street. So thank you again to NOTCF for all that you've done and accomplished, and to Lisa and her staff and the board for helping support us to best showcase New Orleans and its culture, and for doing a phenomenal job communicating about partnerships, grants, and the programs available. So it really is making a difference and helps us to fulfill our mission and provide grants and opportunities for people around this city. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherwood. And just to emphasize on housekeeping, if your vehicle is parked along the river, that is also considered the fire lane, and we need to have that clear at all times for emergency's sake. So if you are parked, please move. We do not want any inconvenience of your vehicle being towed, but we must always keep our emergency lanes clear. So thank you again, and bringing right up Cleveland Spears Fried Chicken Festival, and hope you all enjoyed, what was it, the Bubbles and Boil Festival? You can speak to that. I went and it was great.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, NOTCF board, and thank you all for having me here today. And yes, thanks to the support of NOTCF, we were able to launch a new festival this year honoring our seafood culture called Brews, Boils, and Bubbles. And so we'll be bringing that back again next year as well. But today I'm here to talk about the National Fried Chicken Festival. And we are very grateful for the partnership we've had over the last several years with the New Orleans Tourism and Culture Fund. When we shared this vision we had of creating a food-centered festival to first celebrate New Orleans' rich culinary culture and Southern heritage, we shared that vision with New Orleans Tourism and Culture Fund, and they immediately brought into our vision. It was also aligned with their mission, because not only are we celebrating the food culture of New Orleans, we're very intentional about supporting small, independently owned restaurants. For anyone who's ever been to the National Fried Chicken Festival, you won't see any of those big chains out there. Last year, we hosted over 50 restaurants at the festival, all independently owned small local restaurants. Last year, our restaurants over the 2 days generated over $1 million in sales across all 50 restaurants. And the team at Lisa and the team at NOTCF had a vision. Not only did they want us to use our festival to support restaurants, but other small businesses as well. And that team came up with the idea of creating the NOTCF Merchant Marketplace. This year will be the third year we'll be hosting the Merchant Marketplace, comprised of 20 small businesses selling arts, crafts, wearable merchandise, can-dos, and everything you can think of. We've heard amazing stories from those 20-plus vendors about selling out of their merchandise over the course of the weekend, meeting brick and mortar store owners that they've developed partnerships with, that they're providing merchandise to on an ongoing basis, and they've talked repeatedly about the measurable impact that this partnership with NOTCF and the Fried Chicken Fest has had in helping them grow and scale their business. So we continue to be grateful for the growth that NOTCF has helped us to realize. We've been able to grow so much that earlier this year, USA Today rated the National Fried Chicken Festival one of the top 10 food festivals in the U.S., coming in at number 6 on their list. And we wouldn't be able to do that without great support. NOTCF, I see Alice with New Orleans and Company here, and a number of our partners are also in the audience. WWL-TV, also one of our media partners as well. And so as I stand here today, we are a few short weeks away from the Fried Chicken Festival. It'll be October 5th and 6th on the New Orleans lakefront. 2 full days of food, music, and New Orleans culture on the beautiful lakefront. And so everyone seeing this today, I certainly invite you to join us at the festival, and you can find out more information at friedchickenfestival.com. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you, Cleveland, and we always save those strong females for last. Coming up is Alice Glenn, and she's with New Orleans and Company, and we have several partnerships, but we have a big one coming up, which is the NOLA by NOLA Festival. So, Alice?
Thank you, Lisa. NOTCF is such a great partner to New Orleans and Company and to the city. We appreciate you and your teams, your board so much, and we know you're listening. Our organizations share many common goals, and I love the NOTCF tagline that was mentioned, culture is an open door, which is so true. That culture is what drives our economy and brings a strong quality of life to all of us who live and work here. The New Orleans and Company mission is to inspire, promote, and encourage travel to our city for the economic, social, and community benefit of New Orleans and its people. For the business community and for our musicians, chefs, artists, tourism means business, guests, careers, and preserving our culture for future generations. For our residents, tourism means stronger infrastructure, economic development, tax savings for every family in Louisiana, civic pride, rich cultural offerings superior to much larger cities. If you think about it, New Orleans is a relatively small city with a population of only 400,000 people, but we regularly punch above our weight, we like to say. We have the assets of a much larger city with world-class restaurants, attractions, and that's because of our culture and the millions of visitors who come here to experience and help sustain that culture every year. The work of NOTCF is so important to that end. The competition today is so fierce. Visitors have many more choices of where to spend their time and their hard-earned income. Special event organizers have many, many more options as cities all over the country are making significant investments in new arenas, stadiums, convention centers, and other attractions. The race to create and then recreate the visitor experience has never been more intense. We have to get it right, and we have to do it right. And NOTCF is a key partner in making sure that that happens. As we move into the fall months, we celebrate our music and our world-class musicians with NOLA by NOLA. Starts September 26th, lasts 10 days. More than 50 venues are currently signed up, and there are more than 300 shows currently scheduled. New Orleans and Company is working hard to fill them all. That's right. We lead into Music Month for the month of October, where we know that we celebrate our musicians year-round, but being able to highlight that work on a national and international scale is important for us to do. And so the month of October is again Music Month. And we are also proud to highlight our musicians database in partnership with WWOZ that can be found on neworleans.com, along with more information on NOLA by NOLA Music Month and all of the other activities that are going on. In closing, New Orleans is probably the only city that can say that we will hold 3 iconic global events in a matter of less than 6 months. 3 nights of Taylor Swift, leading straight into the Super Bowl, and then Mardi Gras, all in really more than like 5 months. Throw in Beignet Fest and the National Fried Chicken Fest, which would be marquee events in any other city. It's an incredible time to be here in New Orleans, as it is all the time. All of those draw huge dollars to our economy, benefit our community, reinforce why New Orleans is built to host. Together, let's keep making New Orleans the most remarkable, unique, and welcoming city in the world, not only for visitors, but for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alice. And now we are going to close with our bookends. We begin with our board and we close with our board. And to speak to the advancement of sustainable tourism and to make an announcement that we are bringing forward to you, I would like to introduce to you our board member, Big Chief, and Chairman of the Cultural Working Group for NOTCF, Big Chief Dow Edwards.
Good morning. Thank you, Lisa. I just want to say thank you all for everybody that came out. For far too long in the city of New Orleans, it's been said that the culture bubbles up from the street without much help and support from the city. Those days are long dead and gone. We are listening. The mayor listened. Years ago when she first won office, she had a transition team, and the transition team came out and said that we need to do a much better job of supporting the culture. There's too many other cities that have less culture that supports it better, and the mayor decided that she found this way with the New Orleans Cultures and Tourism Fund in order to support that and start supporting the culture in a way that is significant and can really make a change. Well, like Mr. Dennis said, we listen. We continue to listen. And the people we need to listen to is the people we decide to listen to when we form the Cultural Working Group. And it is a working group. It's a working group of culture bearers from all genres of culture in New Orleans, from all economic aspects of culture in New Orleans. And these people got together and we worked real hard with the help of Tripwise in order to kind of help us stay on task and streamline what we were doing. But what we heard was that we don't have a central mechanism of supporting the cultural ecosystem that can help all the diverse genres of cultures function together. So what we said we were going to come up with was, after long consideration of all types of options, and we felt that the best way to step forward was come up with a cultural information system that provides knowledge to the culture bearers of they can promote themselves on the cultural information system. They can find resources to help better empower them to monetize their cultural activities. They can also go on there and we're going to help them with understanding how, for those of us in elderly age like myself that don't really understand computers like you young folks or the folks that are in the computer age, we're going to empower them to be able to interact on the systems that we put in place. So that's the benefit for the culture bearers, but also it's going to benefit the cultural promoters. They're going to be able to go on there and find out where the culture bearers are, where our local talent resides, what they can do, what they can provide for the events that we're hosting here in the city, and then have an engagement between both the community members and the business members so that we can empower the culture bearers to be able to earn a living wage here in this city and be able to go forward. That's the main thing that we want to do, is be able to empower. They say knowledge is power. And this cultural information system is going to provide everybody with the knowledge of what activities are available, where they're going to be located at, and how to engage with each other. And so one last thing I just want to say is that we're listening. Thank y'all.
Thank you all for listening. We know we had an aggressive schedule. We see so many of our partners here. Thank you for your time. I know it's valuable. Thank you to Jay Cicero Sports Foundation. He's hosting a delegation of people here. Mike Sawaya Convention Center, conventions going on. The Mayor's Office, Cultural Economy. I see so many. I believe I saw Jade Russell, Essence. So, who I haven't mentioned, know that you are in our hearts. We see you, Laverne. We see and we're listening to all of you. So keep us informed. And just to remind you, you know how we do things here in New Orleans. We have barbecued shrimp, bucatini. We have all sorts of the delicacies there. So we're going to provide you with lunch so you can run back and join your regularly scheduled day. Thank you all so much. We're listening.